members of the staff, management, or owners of WGBB.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Real Estate Plate. As always, I'm your host, Nick Sakalis, coming to you live from the WGBB studios here in lovely Merrick, New York. And as always, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of a smorgasbord of what you consider real estate, comments, thoughts, insight, and as always, my own personal opinions. This is going to be our second, I want to say our continuous Facebook Live experiment. You know, we started this last week, and we started halfway through the show, and I definitely got some positive feedback and comments from everybody. And I definitely am very grateful for everything everybody's been telling me. It's been very useful, and I'm definitely incorporating everything that's been told to me, and trying to make this as positive and at the same time entertaining type of experience. I don't know how entertaining I could be. I mean, after all I have been doing is talking about real estate. You know, I guess, yeah, I'm an equivalent of people that are talking about securities and equities on the web. But I'll try to make it as interesting, and I'll try to give my personal flair. We did have a scheduled guest today, and unfortunately, person canceled on me last second. And as everything, we have to adapt, and we have to try to move on. It's unfortunate that this person was not able to be here. I'm not going to mention the name, but this person will not be invited again. It's one of those things that I hate it when people are last second canceling and that kind of thing, but it is what it is, and it's the nature of the business and that kind of thing. I do have our number here, and it's 516-623-1240. Again, the number is 516-623-1240. And you could always call in live, and I'll definitely answer any questions, or you can actually add to the conversation. That would be great. And at the same time, while we're doing this Facebook live feed, you can always comment and send your questions through there as well. Even though I give everybody the option, for some reason or another, too many people have my email address and my cell number, so they constantly are texting me or sending private emails with their questions, and that's fine if that's what they want to do. I could definitely work with them on that, and I'll answer everything I can as it comes through, but it is much easier to get to everything as it's coming on live, because I'm looking at the screen as I'm speaking, and I won't miss anything. So hopefully we won't get enough questions. I mean, people are sending me some crazy things right now, some through private mentioning, some that are publicly available. So I'm gonna use my discretion of how I answer everything. And like I said, I've been getting a lot of positive feedback and very encouraging feedback as far as what I'm doing, and I'm glad I'm actually doing something that will help the public in any way possible when it comes to real estate. And if you have negative feedback, please don't hold back from letting me know that as well. I don't have the thin skin. You have to have a thick skin to be in this business, and any kind of comments always help make me better. And by making me better, you're in in effect, making the show better. So I want to make sure that I'm constantly providing the best product and best content possible. Now, one of the things that people have been constantly asking me about since we had that show a couple weeks ago with Mark Handler regarding the floating home was, well, what am I doing personally? What am I been up to? What kind of projects am I working on? And one of the things I've said to from the very beginning, and we're actually getting close to the beginning of this show. Our anniversary is actually October 31st date, but that was our first show date. One of the things that I've been making a point of letting everybody know, this program, this radio show, is not really meant to, in order to promote myself and the business that I'm doing. It's more of I'm trying to give back to the community and trying to help educate, trying to help people have a better idea about real estate. After all, this is my passion, and I feel that the more educated everybody else around me is in real estate, the easier my job becomes in effect. But since I do get a lot of mail and people asking to see what I'm doing on, obviously you could always check to see what I'm doing on the web. I mean, you could always go to our website, thesacalisgroup.com, and you could see all the current inventory that we're working on. But I'll briefly run across, let's say, the most exciting projects that we're working on, and give you a little insight of what we're doing on a day-to-day basis, week-to-week basis, and the kind of really interesting properties that we're selling. And hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight of what myself and what I and my group are actually up to. So don't believe this is going to be a weekly thing, and at the same time, I'll give everybody a little bit of insight about what I'm doing from time to time. And obviously, if there's something really off the charts interesting or engage, like something that I think people are really gonna want to hear about, like that floating home that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, I will definitely make a point of it. So I've been working on multiple projects all over the spectrum right now. Everything from selling a concrete plant over at Huntington Station, which is an interesting type of sale in itself. It's not your conventional type of sale, and it's something that you have to be thinking out of the box and actively working in order to get the right type of buyer and selling it in the best fashion. So that's definitely something that's really interesting, and it's a learning process altogether, because it's not something that you could say I have abundance of experience on, because there's not that many that go on the market on a yearly basis. So it's something that is a rarity, and the fact that it's come to the table is really a fun project to work on. We're also selling development of property over in Long Island City. Anybody that knows anything about Long Island City, it is a booming area. There's a lot of money being poured in development over there. We're going to have thousands of units coming up over the next few years. And this is just one of those properties that are going to be added to the mix, and actually, part of the whole cycle of new inventory and new units that are going to be built in Long Island City and going to the Astoria area. Going from that, I want to say another fun house that we're selling, and it's a really nice. It's really interesting, this house. This one is in Massapequa. It's right on the water. It sits isolated on its own little peninsula. It has 248 feet of waterfront views from every single angle of the house, of the bay. It's actually right on this Great South Bay, and not only from a canal aspect. And that's what makes it really cool and exciting in itself, because of the fact that most of the stuff that's on the market is either sitting on a canal, had a partial view, or they actually uh, don't have anything out of the ordinary going on with it. This one is a really interesting home because it's not only a new construction that was just built completely to FEMA code. It's got all the bells and whistles you could possibly think of. It's got a Mediterranean look with a modern aspect on the inside. And one of the things that it's amazing about it, it has its own elevator. And I'll tell you something, this is a sub $2 million property. And I will put anybody to task to find another house in the same category and the same price that actually is sub $2 million and it has an elevator that's included. And you know, we're not selling only the elevator, but that's just a part of the dynamic that's really amazing about this property. Uh, it's one thing for me to make a to talk about on the air, and it's one thing for somebody to come and preview. I actually invite anybody to come and take a look at it. Uh, just out of curiosity, they should come and take a look at it while it's still available, because once it's gone, I don't think there's going to be many more houses like that on the market. They're just too costly to build. So come and take a look at it while you can. It's really a nice property. Um, what else are we working on? We're working on, oh, how could I omit this one? This is a really nicely done reconstruction in Laurel Hollow. It's a home that is shy of 6,000 square feet. It is sitting on 2.04 acres, so a little bit over 2 acres. It's got its own gunite pool, little cabana, well manicured landscaping. It's a Dutch colonial, which, you know, another thing, go find another Dutch colonial in the area. They really don't build them. This one, it has its own personal look. So I'm a really big fan of homes that are not cookie cutter. And there's nothing wrong with the cookie cutter homes. It's just, I see them all the time, and they're really nice. And for the right buyer, they're great, but they don't impress me because I see them over and over again. And maybe that's because I'm in the business and I'm doing that. I go into these houses all the time, multiple houses, and on a daily basis. That it's like almost like you're regurgitating the same house over and over and over and over again. And when I have inventory that is really different and unique, and then when I say unique, I mean unique in a good way and not in a bad way, because unique could be a very bad word in real estate. It's one of those things that buyer beware. If you see in the description unique home, that could also mean it's quirky. It could mean it's weird. It could mean it's just different in a bad way. But the way I am actually explaining unique right now, I mean in a really good way. Yeah, it means these places are just uh, in their own category. And going back to that property that I was talking about, Laurel Hollow, it's not only on a nice piece of land, it is a really well done home, and there's a lot of traditional and modern aspects that are fused together in this home, which makes it a really great fit for somebody that's looking for either to be in that contemporary look or to be in the traditional look, because it could go either way depending on the decor that you put in there. And you know, and car lovers, their mouth drops when they walk into this house because of the fact that they could fit in a comfortable 5 cars into the garage, possibly a 6 depending on the size. It's got its own rapid charger built just for Teslas and other electrical vehicles. It's been thought out very well. I love this house. You know, it's hard for me to decipher which house I like more, the one in Massapequa over in Harbor Place or the one that's in Laurel Hollow over by Route 25A. And the other thing that I like a lot about that Laurel Hollow house is not only it's well done, it's large, it's on a large piece of property, it's in a really private street. I mean, you're at the end of a completely private street. Uh, Nobody drives there if they don't belong there, which for me personally, I like my privacy. I I want to be isolated, but not too isolated. So your quick access to get back into main streets, but at the same time you're tucked away all the way at the end of a private road that basically limits the kind of traffic that's going to be going in front of your house. And for me, that's actually gold. I really appreciate my privacy, and there's a lot of people that feel the same way. And I'll tell you something, between that house and the house that's over Massapequa, it's gotten some great attention. I mean, I can't disclose the kind of people that have walked into these houses, and the type of individuals I spoke to, but I'll tell you, it's gone through the entire spectrum of people looking at these places. We're talking about semi-celebrities, some sports individuals, um, and obviously everyday normal. Let's put an air quote about normal type of jobs, type of people that have been coming into the place. So it's definitely got something going for it, and I think it's another one that if you're in the area, come take a look at it, because it's a great property. And if you just appreciate architecture and well-built homes, come and take a look at it, because it's not going to be on the market much longer. I got a feeling that this one will be gone sooner than later, just like the one in Massapequa. What else am I working on? Obviously, we're working on the floating home. That's a really interesting project on itself, and we went into that a couple of weeks ago. So, and by the way, I'm going to be releasing that video with Mark there included, and in case anybody missed it, they'll be able to go replay it, and I think people will enjoy that. We did get a great turnout of listeners and viewers that day, and we did get some really positive feedback from there. So I think the people that did miss out, they're going to enjoy seeing that again. So we'll definitely put that on there. And what else are we working on? All right, let me tell you about upcoming projects that we're working on. I got multiple new construction homes hitting the market. I have one in Syosset that is almost at completion right now. Another one of these houses, especially in an area like Syosset, Jericho, Plainview, you have so many homes that are regurgitated over and over again. They're all cookie cutter, and they're so, I'm sorry to say this, but boring. You know, if you've been into one, you've been into them all. And I like actually working with builders and with people that actually think a little bit out of the box and actually put on a product out there that is thought through. It's just not using the same formula over and over again. And the house that I have that's almost at completion right now in Syosset is actually one of those type of properties. It's really good location, great for transportation, and at the same time a nice sized place. Again, I'm purposely not giving everybody addresses, and I'm purposely not giving people exactly, because obviously it's not going to be a self-promotion. If people ask what I'm working on, these are the things I'm working on. If you want exact details, everything, please go to the website. You can see all the details. If you're interested in anything particular that I'm talking about, please send me a PM, email, comment on there, and I'll get back to you, and I'll send you all the links to these properties, and you can definitely take a look at them yourselves, and be you'll definitely agree with me on the way I'm looking at them. What else are we working on? There's a couple of properties that are coming up in Freeport. And Freeport's one of these exciting areas that has been in a boom since after Sandy. I mean, obviously, a lot of the homes over there were devastated, destroyed, and had a lot of issues with not only with Sandy, but previously with Irene, and it just got battered. And ever since New York Rising went in there, and some development came into the mix, and investors and speculators started to get involved in that area, just like other areas as well. There's been not only a vibe, a different change of culture in the area, an excitement again. People want to be by the nautical mile again, especially if they know they're buying a house that's completely built to code and lifted properly. So I do have a couple projects coming up there, and they're going to be really, really nice, and giving somebody an option to have a new construction house in that area at a pretty affordable price. It's going to be amazing, and I'm excited about those. Right by the nautical mile, going to the other side of the South Shore, I got a couple things coming up in Lindenhurst, very similar to that. Again, everything built to code, and those are definitely exciting type of properties. What else are we working on? I got a couple of commercial projects. What else do we got that we're working on? Oh, we got a great other project, commercial building that's been completely gutted and renovated, and brought from a Class C to a Class E building, which is a huge upgrade. And people that don't know how it works with commercial, basically everything is categorized depending on their amenities, whether it's reception, elevators, escalators, etc., etc. So this is a little bit of an older building that is going through a complete overhaul, and there's going to be a ton of really nice commercial office space that's going to be available in that place. So I'm excited about that one. It's coming in very well as far as the work's been done, and it's probably going to start becoming available sometime in September. So these are the type of things that we're working on right now, and we're definitely going to. I'll give people updates on whenever we have something of note to be able to talk about. Obviously, we have a whole bunch of normal type of homes, and there's nothing wrong with those. Typical 3-4 bedroom, 2-bath, split, colonial ranches scattered throughout the island, Queens, Brooklyn, these areas, and those are really exciting. Oh, we also got a couple multi-units that are up for sale. So, not to get too boring about the stuff that we're working on. We're working on a lot of stuff, and everything is different. And passion's still there. We're really excited about what we're working on, and I think the type of homes and properties that we're selling are definitely the type of place that buyers are still asking for. So that's great. In case everybody's watching me through Facebook Live right now, I have these huge headphones on. It's because I misplaced my own headphones, and I had to use the loaners here, and it's making my head look about twice the size, and maybe making me look like a pumpkin head. So I apologize about that. Everybody knows me. My head is normally not that big, and that brings my paranoia with looking at myself through Facebook Live right now, because as I'm doing this live feed, I'm getting the image coming back to me, and that's one of my things that I'm really uncomfortable with, and something that I'm trying to get past, or I'm muscling through it, is I hate watching myself, whether it's live or not live, and I hate listening to my voice. I'm sure there's plenty more people that hate the same thing. They hate my face and they don't like my voice. But at the same time, it's something I'm getting past. And it's something that somebody told me a while ago that I actually held hard. Your voice is what your voice is, and your face is what your face is. So either you're going to live hating it and not do anything with it, or you're going to just do what you have to do. So, this Facebook Live thing is going to bring us to another point of broadcasting. I mean, we are live on WGBB, and everybody that's listening to in their cars, I definitely do thank you for doing so. And hopefully this feed that we're going to be doing from this point forward will actually expand our audience, engage people a little bit more. And what I'm going to be doing in addition to this feed is after I'm going to be trying to edit them and upload them onto YouTube as well. And hopefully that gives everybody a little bit of easier view, especially if they're not members on Facebook and that kind of a thing. So work in progress, like we said, but now that we kind of got all that out of the way, hopefully I didn't just keep going on and on about these properties. I wanted to also mention a few other items as well. Now, a lot of the people that have been sending me messages and emails have been a mixed bag. Originally what I thought was going to be happening through this show and this type of programming was I was going to have more of the homeowners or buyers or consumers that were going to be asking for the information. But what I'm seeing more and more is a lot of actual professionals, whether they're real estate agents or brokers, such as myself, or they're actually in other facets of the real estate business, whether they're in mortgage, whether they're insurance, whether they're in all other forms. And I've been noticing that it's almost become a split between how many people I'm getting that are other professionals, as along with the consumers that have been actually trying to get my pick my brain, so to say. So I decided that I'm going to try to give as much equal time to both the professionals as much as the consumers as possible, because after all, I'm trying to help people from every aspect I can, and we'll tackle all the items as they come. Now, one of the biggest topics, and one of the, I want to say 70% of maybe the messages that I get from professionals are asking me for ideas of how to promote, market, whether it's themselves or their product, which is the properties that they're selling. And if there's a surefire way to do it, if they could do it economically, if they could do it on a budget or a free, or if what they're doing themselves is a waste of money, or if they're on the right track. And I'm going to touch this subject a little bit. Okay, you have a lot of people that are actually in a vicious cycle of doing the same thing over and over and over again. And something that worked 10, 20, 30 years ago might not necessarily work today. And part of what we do in this business, and what the best individuals in this business do, is adapt, reinvent, and keep going with the way the trends are. And not that some old methods or some methods that were really brought benefit to somebody in the past won't do that today. But you have to sit and evaluate on a case-by-case basis what's working and what's not working. And I'll just go on a couple of topics. One of the things that everybody's talking about of late, I mean, when I say late, over the past 5 years, and it's been a common trend in the business, is print. Is print still a viable source of marketing? Not only for the properties that you're selling, but also for the individuals themselves to self-promote. Okay. First of all, before I even get into that self-promotion thing, I understand that in order for everybody to um, get a foothold in the business, to be able to get more business, people have to know about them. And I'm a big believer of promoting through your own work, a body of work, and to getting the best quality type of business through referrals or individuals that know you or of you. And the only way that's going to happen is by actually doing it. So I tell a lot of new agents and people that are just getting into the business, instead of focusing on doing internet promotions and paying for ads to get themselves, and they could work, especially if that individual has a good mouthpiece on them and they're able to actually speak well and be able to communicate well with others, and kind of get past their lack of experience with their actual presence and the way they speak. It could work, but more than likely they're going to have a tough road to go by doing the so. So I see a lot of people that advertise in avenues like Zillow and Realtor.com. And when I say advertise, I mean by doing paid advertising where they're on the side scroll, where recommended agent, that kind of thing. Oh, and by the way, we spoke about this in the past. The recommended agents, the premier agents, all that stuff that you see on these websites doesn't mean anything. It's not because they don't, because they have the most experience or they've done the most sales or et cetera, et cetera. They're only there because they're paying to be there. So if you're somebody that's looking to use a real estate agent for the very first time, that's not a great source to go to as far as trying to get the best fit for somebody that would work for you, or you want to hire somebody that's the most talented or the best fit for your property needs. So that's my problem. I keep sidetracking. My mind is always going in a million different places, and I usually start to think a lot faster than I'm speaking. So let's get back to the original premise. So I tell a lot of these agents, instead of going and spending this money on this advertising, or putting all your resources in there, start following or shadowing people that are actually in this business and have been in this business for a while. See what they're doing. This business is a copycat business. Nobody's reinventing the wheel. Sorry to break this on to everybody, and sorry to give the secrets out of how our techniques work. There's no secret. It comes down to all the ideas that and everything that everybody's doing in real estate, and how we're doing our sales and promoting our products and ourselves, have been out there for years. And all that everybody's doing is basically modifying and making their own adaptations of how that type of marketing or that type of concept will work to fit them. And if you master doing that by taking ideas that you see other people doing and incorporating it into your own model, and not necessarily copycat, take a piece of that and adapt it to yourself and make it your own. That's how you're going to get through. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel, and there's no reason to try to think of new wild type of theories or methods that are unproven. Not that you shouldn't try new things. Don't get me wrong. I try new things all the time, and I'm at a point in my career where I'm actually always taking and adapting new things to my business model. And I'll tell you something, 9 times out of 10 they're not really worth the money I'm spending on it. I may get some results, but not the results I would like. And once you get to a point in the amount of business that you're doing, you start to take those risks a little bit more because obviously you're generating more income, and you're in a position to be able to have a larger marketing budget. But in the beginning, you really don't have that budget because you're not making anything. So watch people, shadow people, see what they're doing. Take some of those ideas, incorporate into your own model. Do open houses for other individuals. If they're willing to allow you to do an open house with them, go do an open house. See what they do, how they work with their models. And I'll tell you something, from those open houses, you will be able to take some of those buyers that come in and to see that house that possibly won't buy that house, and maybe you'll be able to help them and find another house for them to buy. One of the things that is a problem right now, and I don't know if it's just the way the business has gone or it's just because of the model, but there's a disconnect between a lot of buyers and agents, and there's a lot of reasons why that's happening. There's a actual belief of no loyalty coming in from the buyers, and a lot of agents give up on them really quick, and that does happen a lot. I'll tell you this much, because you have a lot of, I'll say, yeah, I'll go back to something I said a long time ago. I don't remember what show it was on, but a little bit of knowledge is very dangerous, and that's what a lot of buyers are getting right now. They're getting a little bit of knowledge plugged in from this site, a little bit of knowledge plugged in from this side, a little bit of from here, and they all of a sudden feel that they become an expert, and they don't need an agent to help them. And I will say this much: if it's a very savvy person and somebody that does know how to do their research properly, you can get a lot of the information from the web on your own and be able to go through the buying process without the help. However, it's not as easy as it sounds. And in most cases, a lot of the information that buyers are receiving from the web or from all these different sites is not 100% accurate. And there's also a lot of items, unless you've bought multiple houses in the past, that you might be missing and not even think about it, because there's obviously nobody kind of steering you towards something that you might be forgetting to think about, something that might be omitted from some kind of blog or journal telling you how to go buy a house and that kind of thing. And it could become a little bit dicey, and I've seen a lot of buyers that have thought they knew what they were doing, at the end make some pretty serious mistakes. And something that a lot of buyers don't realize is, and don't get me wrong, I'm not much of a buyer's agent anymore. I mean, I did a lot of that in the past, and I'm mostly concentrated towards listing agents. And there's a lot of people from my team that actually work strictly with buyers, and they're focused on that. I focus mostly on my listing, but from my personal experiences and the handful of buyers that I do work with that are, referrals, past clients, friends, family, that kind of thing, that I work with on a yearly basis, I try to steer them and educate them in the proper ways, and kind of point out the things that they may not be thinking about. And that's where the value comes from the real estate agent. The other thing that a lot of people don't realize, especially if it's a home that's on the multiple listing, that's all shared out. So it's not costing them anything more by using that agent, because whether they're going strictly to the listing agent or if they're going through a buyer's agent, the amount of commission that's going to be paid to that seller is going to have to pay is going to be the same. So it's not costing the buyer anything by having an expert help them. If it's a situation where there's not a commission pay, or they have the agent actually working the for a very specific need of theirs, and is actually looking for off-market properties, that kind of thing, then the buyer would have to pay the agent's commission, but it's going to be well worth it because they're going to track down a property that possibly doesn't exist or is very difficult to find. And agents have ways of finding things and getting around things to be able to contact sellers and that kind of thing to be able to help them. So that's, you know, that's what it comes down to that. So going back to, see, that's what I'm saying. I keep going in a million different directions, and I'm trying to come back to the original premise. So as a buyer's agent that or an agent that's new to the business, if you're doing open houses, you're going to be learning. You're going to be able to actually get some buyers out of that, get the experience. And that is, well, you know, in other businesses, people pay for that kind of training. You actually have the possibility of being paid to be trained. And that's golden in my personal opinion. You know, you have an opportunity to possibly make a sale, doing open houses for somebody, helping somebody, and you're learning on the spot. And at the same time, believe me, the listing agent is not going to let you run loose like a cowboy or a cowgirl and damage or loss. You'll be able to especially if the listing agent is somebody that's knowledgeable and experienced. They're going to know how to rein you in and try to help make the sale happen, especially if you're bringing a buyer or it comes in through one of the open houses. So that's a way to be able to do it. And what it's going to cost you, time, probably gas, because you're going to have to drive back and forth to the property and that kind of thing. But you didn't have to advertise. You didn't have to do anything like that. You want to hear my opinion about your biggest bang for your buck as far as getting a return on some type of print material or advertising material? Business cards. These actually still work. You know, you could get a box of business cards anywhere from the complete cheap end, like if you're going for those like cheapy cards that are online, that kind of thing, you get $20, $30 per thousand, to like a decent card of $60, $70, $80, $100, depending on what it is. But whatever it is that you're paying, you're getting by far the best return for your money by far. Because here's the thing: if let's say you're spending $100 per thousand, and that's an expensive card. Not a lot of people do that. That's typically what it costs me because I get them custom printed on both sides and that kind of thing. But you don't have to get that. If you're paying, you know, $90, $100, whatever the case is, and you have 1,000 cards, those are 1,000 opportunities you have to be able to capture some type of business, whether it's a buyer, it's seller, possible future contact, somebody that's going to keep in touch with you, something. Out of those 1,000, in my personal opinion, you will more than likely make one transaction if they're used properly. So your typical transaction that you're going to make in this business on a sale, let's say, could probably be, I don't know, let's say $10,000, $15,000 in commission. Don't you think $100 investment to make a sale like that is well worth it? I think so. Now, and again, your card is a reflection upon you. So make sure it's a nice, clean, sharp designed, nice card that you're giving out. If you're giving something that's basically bleeding through or you made on your printer, not that I'm saying that you can't get through with that. If you're going to spend some money, spend it in the right places and actually get it professionally printed on the right kind of stock and that kind of thing. Because you will stick out, you know. And I think it makes a lot of sense to invest in those cards. And I always say to myself, to my agents, to my team, you should be running through a box of cards a month. You know, because if you're doing this full time, you're meeting that many people. And you know what? Give 2, 3 cards to a person that you possibly think might give them out to somebody else. You're going into a business and actually having a conversation with that business owner. Make sure you drop off a card with them. That way they remember you. And you know what? You do it over and over and over again, enough times to enough people, you will get that business and it will get generated in the proper fashion. So it takes time, just like everything. Like everything, everybody can't be lucky and strike gold with the first shot. And I honestly wish everybody that started the business they don't do that, because that's the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. Obviously, monetarily, it's great feeling and great satisfaction to make a big time sale right from the get go. But I personally think that could ruin somebody. It happened to me when I first started. When I first started, I went from rentals to property management, and then when I started doing actual sales, um, I did a pretty significant sale. Let's see, what about 20 years ago and 15 years ago. So I remember what it was, but it was a while ago. It was for $700,000. It was a high commission, and it happened within a week of me starting out with sales and going from the rentals to the property management. And that's another thing. You should learn all the aspects of the business. Learn how to do the rentals. Learn how to what it takes to be a property manager, even though you never use it. Understand how management works, because it will help you in future listings and sales, and to be able to communicate to not only landlords but to the property managers, because they have a different psychology and different mentality of how they go with their numbers and how they sell. So it's good to know. But let me not go too much off track. When you jump from those type of transaction, then you jump to sales and you make one really quickly, you think it's easy from that point forward, and it's not. It's not. I had a rude awakening after that happened, because I had went through a drought of probably 5, 6 months without making one sale after that, and it was a rude awakening because during that time I thought it was just going to fall in my lap, and it wasn't. I wasn't going after it the way I should have. But once I started to understand that that's the way it is, I started going after it in different approaches and doing what I can to start generating more business, and never look back since then. So if you're thinking that it's going to come easy, don't, because it's not. It's not an easy business, and not everybody's built to be in this business. But if you are, you could do very well, and there's no rocket science to it, and there's no magic to it. It comes down to hard work and being smart about it. You have to make intelligent moves and use a little bit of hard work to get there. Because if you do take that approach, you will do well in not only in real estate and anything. I strongly believe. Hard work surpasses all, and you definitely are in a business where it will show itself who does the hard work and who doesn't. So we got into that topic as far as what people are doing that could possibly get into different type of marketing. Like I said, you would rather do self promotion by action rather than actually spending the marketing dollars in the beginning. I mean, don't get me wrong. Spend a little bit of money just to get yourself out there and put sharp photos together and that kind of thing. And if you're in a position to put your own little website together, that's a good thing. Uh, we're on Facebook Live right now. Definitely have your Facebook page. Definitely go on LinkedIn and create a business profile. I can't tell you how many people that I know that have been in the business for years and don't even have a LinkedIn profile. I'll tell you something. Out of all the social media sources that I'm on and that I've used, I get more people contact me about doing some type of business from LinkedIn than any other. And that's one of the reasons is because, one, they look you up and they remember you through there, and they know that you exist and you're doing this business. The other thing is everybody that's on LinkedIn is there to do business. Either try to get business from you or try to give out business. And it's a much better platform and place to be interactive with other like-minded individuals that are looking to improve their business. So I personally, LinkedIn works really well for me, and everybody that's in the business or any type of professional type of business should have their own profile. Instagram is a great platform, especially if you're a listing agent. You snap a picture of a new property you're about to list, or something you listed. Give everybody a little sneak peek about what you're working on. It's a great platform. I love it, and it doesn't take too much. You snap a picture, write a couple things about the property, why you like it, or try to get people's feedback on what they like, and you'll got an automatic attention on your property. And something that a lot of people don't understand is, like, even through Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever the case is, they think that, well, you're only limited to whoever is following you or whoever your friends are. That's not true, because you're limited to your friends and followers and whoever's following them and whoever's friends with them, and so on and so on. So the larger your individual network is, the larger the expansion, and you go through like almost like that 6 degrees of separation kind of a thing. So it's not the end all, it's not the best vehicle to use, but it is a good platform, and it's something that does become reliable, and another tool that you have in your box. So and again, you don't have to spend money. Yes, you can spend money, and you can boost and advertise your listings and promote yourself through there. And I'm guilty of doing it myself on some occasions. I do promote some of my properties, and I do spend some money on boosts and getting them out to the public. And I think it is a very good thing to do, especially with certain type of properties. And some of them really should get that additional recognition. So it's to your discretion, but you don't necessarily have to, and you're out there no matter what, So you have that. Now, going back to print, what's going on with newspapers? What's going on with magazines? What's going on with I don't know, periodicals, gazettes, neighborhood papers, that kind of thing. I don't know. It's a changing market. It's not what it was. You take a local paper like the Newsday, and you had so many people actually read and get a Newsday delivered to them. Not even close to the amount of people that used to read the paper or are actually physically reading a paper. You got a lot of people that are online. They're doing that, and that's the place you want to be as far as that kind of advertising. If you're going to go in the classifieds or in the real estate section or have a ad, you want to have it online. The actual paper form, it's nice to have something tangible in your hands, but not necessarily effective the way it used to be. The same thing goes for the magazines. The same thing goes for the town little gazettes and periodicals. They're not as important as they used to be, unfortunately, because I'm one of these dinosaurs. Believe me, I might be 41 years old, but in the heart, I'm one of these old timers when it comes to certain things, and I like to actually pick up a newspaper, even though I never get a chance to. I like to buy a newspaper and actually open it up and read through it. It's one of those things that I think people are not in tune with that as much as they used to be, and I think people are just changing with the times. That's really what it is. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I miss those days, and unfortunately, I can't see them coming back. And it's just, the magazine, the newspaper has been replaced with a tablet or with a phone. So if you're continuously doing the print and you feel that that's actually helping you, it might help you in some ways. But if you're looking for it to get a real return on your money, you definitely want to go the digital route, because you're reaching a far larger audience and you're getting a much better return for your money. In many ways, I think the print is there to appease some people that actually want to physically see something that might not be on the web so much and not understand how everything was working nowadays. And sometimes as a listing agent, you do things like that just to appease some people, to make them happy that they're actually seeing something in print and actually have something tangible that they're holding in their hands, so they feel that some advertising happening. But you could easily show them how you're working online and the type of targeting and that kind of thing that you're working with. So it is what it is, how the world is working right now, and it's definitely something that everybody needs to keep in mind and understand that things are going to be changing considerably moving forward. You know, what we have right now in place might not necessarily be the oh, there you go. Somebody actually just um, texted the penny savers is something that a lot of people do. I personally am not a fan of the penny saver anymore. I mean, once it had its time, but here's the problem: the name itself, penny saver, personally to me irks me, because if you have a $500,000 property, $1 million property, $2 million, whatever the number is, and you're listing it in a periodical called the Penny Saver, don't you think you're kind of devaluing it just by putting it in a periodical like that? Would you be happy about actually, I don't know, if I'm selling my home and it's on the market for, I don't know, $600,000, $1 million, 500, I don't care if it's $100,000. Do I really want it to be advertised in a place called the Penny Saver? And here's the other thing: as an agent, if you're actually advertising yourself or self-promoting, do you want to be associated with the name Penny Saver? That makes you a discount broker, and by giving you yourself the label of being a discount broker, doesn't necessarily mean that you're giving it only a discount in the commission or whatever you're charging the individuals, but you're kind of degrading your work and your business as well by saying I'm coming in at a discount rate. I'm not giving you full service. I don't know. It's just not. I'm not a fan at all about the penny savers, and I definitely um, appreciate like the comment on that, and it's definitely something that we do use in the business. I've stopped using them completely. You know, I'd rather go in the Wall Street Journal or the Times or something to that effect, and I do use that as well. Even though it goes into print, it's mostly the digital that I take advantage of. But penny savers are definitely not something I like. I'm not a big fan, and it's something I'm not really happy about. People continue to use, because, like I said, it's a model that I think is defunct, and I don't think it ever should have had its place in the business to start with. But that's my own personal opinion, and like I said, not everybody agrees with what I have to say, and at the same time, I'm not going to say I'm the end all be all, but I feel the way I do, and I'm just that's the gear that's the mentality I have towards that. Um, looks like we're coming to the end of the show. So I went on my rant again about everything from Facebook to social media to penny savers. And I just noticed that there were a couple people on the radio that on the call log that were supposed to call in. I apologize for not getting to you. Um, it's my fault for actually not focusing and looking at the lights light up, but I promise you that I'll make a better effort as far as getting to the callers. But you know how it goes. We get into these tirades, and I just want to make sure that I at least finish my thoughts. So we'll be together again this time again next week from 6 to 7, just like every Monday night. And enjoy the rest of the week.